Here.
Shaquille Ali,
Here.
Anthony Sujisaka.
Here. All right, and then we will go to our Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Scott, if I may ask you to lead us in the pledge. Thank you very much. All right. We move on to item number 4, approval of the agenda. If any of all of you have any additions or amendments or tabling, otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, and we move on to item number 5, board member acknowledgements and commendations, 5A, and I will start on my right.
Well, I first want to thank the JESD administration for organizing an incredible Institute Day, which I had the fortune of attending part of on Monday. And I want to thank all of you, teachers, principals, staff, for inviting me in. And it was great to see a number of the sessions and the palpable excitement that comes with starting the school year and all the learning that the teachers are doing hard at work on a variety of topics. I secondly want to echo something that Superintendent McCulloch called out in her opening, her welcome video of just thanking the custodial staff and the IT staff in particular for all their hard work over the summer. The schools have looked great, and I know our students and teachers and staff are ready to begin learning this year. And yeah, first day of school, wow, it was a exciting day. Exciting is always the word that comes to mind. In our house, I felt like it was a lot of some nervous energy, you know, who's my teacher's gonna be, where am I gonna sit, what's my schedule gonna be, and for the parents too, you know, what's our drop-off schedule going to be like. But I appreciated a homework assignment on the first day that one of my kids' teachers gave for the students and the parents, just to set a simple goal for the year for their learning. And I did that just before the meeting, and I felt like I could take a deep breath and think about, you know, what I wanted for our kids, for myself, and starting out the school year. So I would encourage everybody watching, everyone connected to the district, to set your own goals, and we'll all be working hard to achieve them. Thank you.
Well, happy first day of school. I echo my fellow board trustee sentiments and the excitement around the first day. I want to make sure that everyone has some patience around probably this week and next week when it comes to getting your kids to school and picking them up, because I know that there's a lot of traffic and people are trying to figure out, especially for maybe students that were not at that school in the previous year, and so trying to understand a routine. So have some grace, give people grace around you. Try not to honk your horn if you don't feel like they're going fast enough. And obviously, be mindful of the crosswalks. I know everybody's so busy in the morning, you want to turn, but we have children coming from all sides, crossing the street, and we just want to make sure that they're safe. On another note, I believe that there was information that was sent out before the beginning of the school year with regards to the student handbook. If you have not had a chance to look at that, read that, sign that you've received it and you agree with that, please do so. And at my daughter's school, they actually got sent home information for emergency contact. If your children did not give you that, look in their backpacks and get that, sign that, get that back to the teachers. It's imperative and important for us to know that information just in case anything happens. And with that, I look forward to a really amazing school year.
All right, thank you. I just want to welcome everyone back as well. And we have a lot of items tonight on the consent agenda with a lot of contractors. So I just want to say congratulations to all those contractors, and we're looking forward to the great services that you'll provide to our district and our students. Thank you.
I echo my fellow board trustee sentiments, and actually, it's interesting that you mentioned setting goals, because actually, that's one of the things that I think I want us to focus on this year is really like having a clear mission, vision, and goals is what really drives the work. And then whenever we have discussions, one of the nice things is when we have a mission and goal or vision, we can say, hey, what was that? What are we here for? What is our mission? What's our vision? And that really drives a lot of the work that we do in schools. It drives a lot of the work that we do out of schools. And so just even making a personal one, it's all applicable. So let's have a really positive mission, vision, and goals for this year. All right, and with that, I will pass it over to superintendent comments.
Yes, good evening. Happy first day of school as well. I was a bit ambitious today and I visited all 15 schools. I didn't get to all of them before school got out, but I did get to check in with every single principal, and I almost think 100% of them, I asked them, how did it go today? And they said, it was the smoothest year I've ever had, and every single one of them knocked on wood. So hopefully that wood holds for the rest of the year. We had Westlake School is still under construction, as we know, and I was there. I started off the day there with Miss O'Neill. Very smooth start. I mean, we have a little bit of workarounds, but we're hoping that construction moves along quickly, and Miss O'Neill and staff have been really patient and accommodating and making it work. So we really appreciate what they've been doing. Normally the newsletter goes out on first day of school, but pending some action tonight, I'm having the newsletter go out tomorrow. So look out for that in your emails to all the community. Just one big note is that our special education office is now located here at the district office at 101 Lincoln Avenue. So we're really excited for that collaboration that we will have. And so families that have students with IEPs or in special education, please come to the district office instead of Ben Franklin. And then also echoing the thank yous, Ms. Scott for Institute Day and her team. They did a fantastic job. It's a lot to coordinate, and I think it was a very successful day. Got a lot of great feedback. I also want to thank Human Resources, Mr. Valenti. Got everyone, every classroom covered. We have, all of our classified staff, our food service, everyone is where they need to be, and it was a really smooth start. And I think you were saying probably one of the easier transitions with new staff. So we want to thank Human Resources and the whole team there, as well as maintenance, custodial service. I mean, looking at the schools, there's a lot of new paint jobs. There's, cafeterias, hallways, and just the floors, and it just looks welcoming, and that's our vision of welcoming, engaging, and safe. Also, food service did a great job making sure every student got the meals they need. I just want to remind families, we need everyone, even if you don't think you qualify, to please complete the free and reduced lunch meal application. We're going to do a drawing as well to encourage participation. So we really need everyone to fill that out, because it does provide services. It gives us after school care for free for families that qualify, but it helps also provide us funding for the district to provide services. So even if you don't think you qualify, just fill it out and you get entered into a drawing, and we hope we have as many people as possible to fill that out. So looking forward to sharing more at the next meeting about our enrollment. It takes a couple weeks for us to have enrollment settle. We appreciate families' patience as we make sure that everyone is in their right spot. But thank you.
Well, that's what we like to hear. And good luck to the rest of the school year. All right, we move on to item 5C, persons wishing to address the board. Ms. Covray, do we have any speaker cards? All right, this portion of the agenda is available for individuals to comment on or address the board on any issue that is on the board's jurisdiction and not on the agenda. The maximum time allowed for any speaker is 2 minutes. All right, and we are going to move right along to item 6, consent agenda. The administration recommends approval of all the following starred consent agenda items. Are there any items that need to be removed or for discussion? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Give me a second to flip through all the pages. All right, and we have reached item 7A, Board of Trustees vacancy. The administration seeks direction on the purpose, or on the process the board wishes to use to fill the board vacancy. If pursuing a provisional appointment, the board may select up to 2 members to serve on an ADHOC committee to determine whether applicants meet the eligibility criteria. All right, and I will pass it to Superintendent McCullough to explain further.
Yes, so as you can see, Ms. Flamenco is, she has resigned from the board, so she's no longer participating on the board. And so she has officially resigned as of July 16th. That starts a clock for the board. We have you have 60 days to take action. There are 2 choices, really. You can hold an election at the next election, which would be November 2025, which is not a typical election for our board. Or you can do a provisional appointment until the next regular board election, which would be November 2026. And so just to give you some background information, if the decision was to do an election in November 2025, it would be quite costly for our district because it is not even a midterm election or presidential election, so there's fewer things on the ballot. So that means the cost of the election would be split by fewer people, so it could be in the $100,000 or so dollars for us as an organization to have to pay for that election. A provisional appointment, if that were the way to go, we would start advertising tomorrow. That's kind of what I'm waiting for with the newsletter. And so what would then happen is we would give a couple weeks time. They would have to submit applications by September 2nd at 3 p.m. And then at the September 10th meeting, you would conduct public interviews. So you have 2 choices here. And if no decision is made, then the county superintendent forces an election and makes us pay the cost. So I encourage you to make a decision tonight. So if you have any other questions, let me know, and we'll let you discuss.
All right, with that, we go into discussion, and so we can discuss. If there is a decision, we can make a motion, and this will be a roll call vote.
Just one question on, thank you for that explanation, Superintendent. What exactly would candidates need to submit by September 2nd at 3 o'clock? It's a standard application.
Yeah, it's basically like a resume, and just a statement as to why they want to be on the board. Really, the only qualification is you have to be a voter in the district, a registered voter in the district. And that's what, if we were to do a ad hoc or a provisional appointment, the ad hoc committee would just basically look to see, are they registered, and check with the elections office to see, are they a registered voter in our district boundaries. And that's something that usually Ms. Covere and I would do. So it's not necessary to have an ad hoc committee, only if you want some oversight. But it's really quite simple.
And are those materials made public, made available to us, the board members? They're public.
Everything will be public. It will be on the website. So pending your decision, we will have it go out tomorrow, I believe, shared publicly with the community, as well as it will go into the newspapers saying that there's a vacancy if you decide on a provisional appointment. And then candidates would have the timeline to apply. We'd have all the information on the website.
Any other questions or discussion?
I don't have any questions or discussion. I think me and Trustee Ellie have been through this before, and provisional is the way I would recommend us going.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will entertain a motion. So then I guess.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, is that a motion or?
I motion that we go with the provisional appointment.
Second that.
All right, this is a roll call vote. Ms. Covere?
Mr. Rashba,
Aye.
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Ali,
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Before you move on to the next item, it says the board may select up to 2 members to serve on an ad hoc committee. It is not necessary. In the past, a few board members wanted to have some oversight. But like I said, all it is just us checking, are they registered voters? So do you want someone on that, or do you trust our able to check that for you?
Do we need to motion that?
If you wanted to do that, you would have to motion who you would like on the committee.
Just confirming that if we did not have the committee, that the JESD administration would verify that they're
Yes.
registered voters in the
Yes.
district? Okay. In that case, I would advocate for not creating a committee on this.
Second.
Okay.
Cool. So then I guess our direction to you, since I guess this is not a motion, would be we are not going to ask that you make a committee.
Do we need to should we do a motion and a vote on this? Okay, okay. Thank you, just
No,
confirm.
thank you. All right, and I will now move on to item 7B. Excellent. All right, Subcommittee JESD Housing Board Representative. The board will consider appointing one board member as representative to JESD Housing Board to complete the regular term December 2020 through December 2025 due to the resignation of a board member. So we need to recommend one of us.
I have a question. What are the meeting dates for this board? And how often?
I know
They're
it's
once a month, and do you know when they fall? You were on
It's
it
the first
before.
Tuesday of every month from, it's either 5 to 6 or 6 to 7.
I believe it's 6 to 7.
It might be 6 or 7.
I
It is
can-
virtual.
I can look.
But, yeah, and I would say average an hour.
The next one is September 2nd, and it is from 6 to 7 p.m. So it's the first Tuesday of the month.
Yep.
Just for information, President Sujisaka has been on this board before, so for continuity, it might be helpful to have him on it just to finish out the term, but that's just my 2 cents.
If that is so, we need a motion.
I would certainly support President Sujisaka lending his expertise to serve on this board through the end of the term.
I support that as well. However, I want to make sure to give President Sujisaka a say if he wants to actually do that again.
Thank you, and yes.
Then second.
All right, this is the voice vote, so all those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations to me. All right, item 7C, board self-evaluation results. The governing board will review and reflect upon the board's self-evaluation results from the 2024-25 school year. And I will pass this off to Superintendent McCulloch.
Yes, so I shared this with you in this week's information bulletin, and sharing it with you now in paper form as well as to the members of the audience, and we can attach it to the minutes after the meeting. As you can see, it's only the four of you who have responded, and I just tallied where the responses laid. You have a choice of just taking this, accepting it, and then using it as kind of a point-in-time data of this is where we fell at the end of the school year, and then bring it back in February or January when we meet for our governance workshop, and then do a comparison, maybe do another one at that point, or you can discuss the results now as well. So I'll leave that up to you. I had just mentioned at the end of the year that we would do it, and then you can decide, do you want to just accept it and say, okay, thank you, we'll save it for later, or discuss it now.
Yeah, so I'm just supposed to ask if anyone has any reflections.
I would say that in the past, and I think I made this statement before, because I opposed us doing it, was that we would discuss in real time when we received the results and talk through like why maybe someone felt a certain way. So for example, in one of the questions, we had, most people say effective, but then we had some people say somewhat effective. So why did we have why is there a split there? Is there a disconnect? And so I'm happy with accepting, but I do think that we should discuss this because obviously we're all sitting on the same board, we're experiencing the same things but differently, and so it seems like for certain things we're aligned and for certain things we are not, and I would love to understand why there is misalignment.
Any other opinions or reflections? I think one of the things that I would like to say is I completely agree. I would love to discuss this. I'm wondering if I need time to read it and really understand it. I mean, we can start discussions and I can catch up. That's also a possibility too. I'm just a little bit slower than most.
I will say that my take in looking through these results, which are range from somewhat effective to very effective on everything except for one question of asking questions before the board meeting, in which there was one of us who said seldom effective. It could have been me, I honestly don't remember. But everything else ranged from kind of the moderate to the excellent, and I would interpret that as overall we feel like we are doing what we're supposed to do, at least an adequate job. In my mind, I would interpret any variation as to how each person interpreted the question or how hard of a grader, that each of us were, and we vary in that respect, but I would see that the overall message is good. I would be most interested in something that you said, President Sujisaka, in the opening remarks of mission and vision and goals, and getting into a little bit more concretely, like what is it that we want to do within these board goals? Like we've agreed that we're on the right track, our heart's in the right place, but what is it that we are going to do? And yeah, I would actually like to see us use the January retreat planning session as a really good time to reflect on that and do some real work on that. And maybe we have a situation where it's now the beginning of the school year, and so we're thinking about our kind of goals for the school year, but maybe a time for us is more the calendar year, and what are we going to do in 2026?
So after that meeting, I actually went home and I was kind of thinking about Trustee Jordan. So I don't really have much to say about this except for whatever we're going to do, I think we should just do it now and get it over with.
Sounds good. So then, I guess we'll continue with reflections then, if that's all right.
Yeah, I'm fine with continued reflections, and I would say that I do agree with Trustee Rashba in that it does seem like we are on more of the moderate to doing well. I don't think that we need to go through every single one. I think there are specific ones where I would like to just understand how everyone feels about them, and maybe it's the ask questions before meetings one. I think that one is a good one to maybe look at. And then, again, there's most of them, again, I think we're on the effective to very effective, but where it is somewhat effective and there's more than one person, like set direction for community schools, well, why do we feel like we're somewhat effective? So I think that would be my only recommendation if we want to get the discussion going on today and finalize it.
All right, so you want to focus on the asking questions, and then you said which other one?
So
Community
I would
engagement?
say for the ones where we have more than one of somewhat effective. So I think it would be the in ever-changing world, hold each other accountable, reflect regularly on our biases, and set direction for community schools. And then I guess the ask questions, because that one
Yeah.
is like, one of seldom effective, yeah.
Actually, if no one argues,
I
I
think
like
that's
that.
a good plan.
Sounds good. And actually, I was wondering if we could actually start with the ask questions before meetings, because that one we have, all the other ones we have very effective. This one we have none. So, I guess I think, I don't remember, just like Trustee Rashba, I do not remember what I voted on. The reason I did not vote us very effective, and this is also myself, is, sometimes even thinking before, it's like specifically I focus on the word before the meeting. When they're presenting, when we have presenters, they're gonna say things that are not in the slides that we got to read. So, if I read them, I have questions, or maybe I don't have questions because it's right there, but then things come up. So I think that's why I didn't rate us very effective, because and this is all of us, we all have lots of questions, like when we hear it, but they aren't, like, very few people here can think so far ahead as to write a very well thought out script of what they're going to say. Reference to you. But exactly, but very few of us can do that. And so it is interesting. That's just my only thought on why I did not vote very effective. But it wasn't anything against anybody.
Yeah, I would say that I don't remember either what I selected, but I do. My take on it is that when I hear other people speak and the questions that they ask, it actually prompts me for additional things. And secondly, I actually like to ask questions, sometimes a repeat of questions. And that's the other thing. I think sometimes people may not know who asked what question beforehand. And so if I ask a question at the board, or it seems like I'm asking additional questions, it may not be because I want the information, but I'm asking the question because I want the public to hear what I've already asked. So I understand the reason for asking questions before the board meeting. I don't know if it's going to stop the questions at the board meeting because of what I just said.
Yeah, I would say that the standard that we should hold ourselves is not asking any questions during the meeting, because I actually think that's part of our job is, I see that our job is to try to achieve excellence for all students within our schools. And sometimes as part of that, as you said, Trustee Jordan, the commentary from our fellow trustees, from the speaker, jogs additional questions, and it's worth asking those things to try to get better results. I think the standard is to try for each of us to think through each item, to review all of the materials, and to try to, alert the speakers to questions that can be worked out, ahead of time. So that's what I commit to holding myself to do, in the next year. And yeah, thank you.
And then it sounds like we're all pretty much in agreement of, I think, just what that.
So I
looks
guess
like.
maybe the question is now, is this an effective question on a board evaluation due to those statements?
That is a good reflective question.
Okay, I'll chime in real quick. So, to me, the important thing is to not catch the administration in "I gotcha" moments or questions. So, whether we ask them beforehand or during the meeting, we shouldn't try to come up with questions that they can't answer.
I agree.
Go ahead.
I will say that sometimes, though, it is incumbent on us to ask questions that they or any of us may not know the answer to, because they're very thought-provoking questions.
And to tag onto that, like as much as, and we can ask questions, but sometimes we can't predict the question that we're going to ask. And so and you're definitely right. I think it's also, that's the balance that we have to that's on us to really just maintain that balance as best we can.
Maybe the statement to the public and to the presenters is that I hope you never feel that we are trying to catch you in a moment. It is never our intent. We are really working through the plethora of information, as you see from this very long agenda, that, most of the things we did have consent, but we reviewed those items beforehand. And with things that are on the regular agenda, there just might be times where we may ask questions, unfortunately, that you may not be prepared for. However, I think it is an acceptable response to say, I don't know the answer right now, let me get back to you. And I don't think it's a problem to do that or to feel fear in having to say or respond that way.
All right, is there any more reflection on this question? If not, I'm actually going to go to the two front ones, and the reason to go backwards is just because these two are pretty evenly divided, so I thought these would be more thought-provoking conversations. So we'll start out with the statement, we had two somewhat effective and two very effective. In an ever-changing world, I guess I should read the question first. So it's, to what extent does JESD School Board effectively demonstrate the following from the Governance Handbook? In an ever-changing world, create a future in which all students feel that their lives have been bettered through our public schools. And to repeat that, we have two somewhat effective and two very effective.
I'll speak on this one. So I think I might have put somewhat effective because I think this was one where I was wondering if we're able to do that as implementers. You know, we're not the implementers, so I know we can help create the guidance for this and the oversight, and hopefully empower the superintendent to do this.
I don't remember, but I'm feeling like I might have done the same thing as well, because I agree. There's some of these questions I don't feel like I have a complete impact. I can make policies and hope that the policies that we've created, the budgets that we've approved, the programs that we've approved will do this, but I can't guarantee it per se. And I mean, something on the agenda earlier with a board member that had resigned, that they were on the board for, let's say, 6-7 months. I don't know if that's enough time to do this per se. And so again, some of these questions I'm wondering, are they effective questions to evaluate us as a board? I don't know.
If I may chime in, I established this based on our the governance handbook. So if we want to redesign this and use this again, we can modify and revise some of these statements for sure. So this is good discussion.
Yeah, because when we've discussed these in the past, every time we come back together and discuss these things, we start noticing what we're able to do and what we're supposed to empower you to do as our executive. So that's, I think, any of my somewhat effective is always going to be based on that. Are we micromanaging? Are we the implementer? Or are we creating the opportunity for the superintendent to do this? Because I don't know if we can create a future.
I guess through some policies we make, and I think some of the resolutions that we make, I think that's what I think. And I actually looked up because I really wanted to see for this one, what did I do? I know I did somewhat effective. And the reason for that, I had to know I did it. But the reason is because, and I think through our conversations as a board that we've heard, I will never forget the conversation that happened. I don't remember when it was. I won't forget the conversation though. But we were talking about school safety and fences, and there were some very strong opinions that we had on this board that were very much like, if our students don't feel safe, what are we doing? And I think that those conversations kind of resonated in my head when I thought about this. So not that we are not doing this thing. That's why I put somewhat effective. I feel like we are doing it, but I also feel like there are other ways that we could be doing it better. And definitely we don't have a direct impact, but I think even from the first board meeting in December, we made our first or second, it was one of those resolutions we had signed for in support of our student populations that are affected by the current administration. So we had a resolution for that, and that is an impact on students. Our students see that we voted to hopefully, even though you're right, we are not directly impacting them, but I think we do have some impact. So that's, I think, more where I was coming from, was what have we done on our board? What was memorable to me?
I laughed when you said that because I was convinced that I also voted somewhat effective. So someone had to put very effective, and I guess we don't remember it being any of us. But
I've got the email to prove it. It's okay. I'm just kidding.
Have them all.
You do not have to call us out. Because then we'll have to call one of us a liar.
I'll say that this particular statement, I think, is very aspirational and very difficult to, hold our standards to create a future in which all students feel their lives have been improved but better by our schools. I do think that we have a key role in it, certainly in partnership with the administration. It's something that we should be striving for, but I feel like we're not quite there yet, all doing the best that we can within the constraints that we have. Most importantly, not enough funding for all of our public schools and students. The other thing I just want to say, in the future, I would advocate for maybe less questions and some qualitative as well as quantitative measure with these, because Yeah, it's hard to get a lot for me, of whether we said somewhat or very or effective, but I'd be very interested to hear the, free-form comments of what does our district do well? What does our board do well? What could we do better? Things like that.
But then you'll know which one I wrote. I talk real differently from y'all's.
Well, we can aggregate and reword but I agree. I think based on these conversations and this discussion, I do think that we may want to rethink how we are evaluating ourselves. If the superintendent can change her evaluation every year, I think the board should be able to as well. But I do appreciate the time that you did take to put this together, and I do think the discussion is helpful because at the end of the day, I think we do all want what's best for the district and our students and the community at large. But I do think that having maybe more open-ended questions with actual feedback from each of us that we can aggregate and use might be a little bit better because I agree. Some of this stuff is very aspirational and I don't know how we would even measure ourselves on that question that we just talked through.
With that, do we want to move on to the next one? Is there any more discussion on this one? Okay, so we'll stop here. Oh, wait, no, don't move on. Wait, I'm hearing.
Wait,
what am I
I'm
hearing?
sorry, what was the question?
So I was going to ask to move on to the next one, if we should move on, or are we not ready? Do we want to
Oh,
have more
move on to the
discussion
next
this one?
question? I'm okay with that.
Okay, I got 3 no's. That's why I was like, oh, we're not done yet? Okay, thank you. So the next one, hold each other accountable for our collective learning and success. I will say I did vote somewhat effective, but I actually should have changed that vote. I think also being over summer, reflecting on different things, it's also kind of like, it's been a little while since we've been here. So I think if I had to change my vote, I would have either effective or very effective.
I'm quite sure that I put very effective, but that's also because I am very vocal and I always tell people how I feel. I know that's not something that everybody else maybe does, but I put somewhat effective, and I'm speaking from myself in the sense that if I don't agree, I'm not just going to take it. I will say, no, I don't agree, or I don't feel like I have to, I'm not saying yes because everybody else is saying yes, and I do think that this board doesn't do that as well. I think we do have conversations about it, which is why I put very effective, or I think I put very effective. I don't really remember, but that would be my statement around this. And I guess what I would like to say additional to that is I would encourage all of us. I think we've been working with each other for a while to feel comfortable with just holding each other accountable if we disagree with something, and we can also all agree to disagree as well, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, I think we're very effective at this. We have plenty of processes and structure and systems to do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I put somewhat effective. Again, I think that I interpreted this as just something that is really hard to achieve, our collective success as a district. And to me, that gets at, our students really better prepared for a better future. I certainly think, in most cases, yes, not in every case, and we're trying as best that we can. But are we as an organization held accountable if that doesn't happen, if it's not happening fast enough? And I'm not advocating for being accountable in a specific way, other than we're all accountable to the voters at the end of the day. But I do, for me, what this gets at is maybe a more concrete mission, vision, goal setting type of work, so that we really are clear of what we want to achieve. And then if we don't get there, then we look at accountability for that. But as of right now, I feel somewhat, but I do certainly agree with what you said, Trustee Jordan, of the level of comfort and productiveness that we have on our board, which is a good thing, and that we can hold each other individually accountable for what we're doing, and even as a organization as well.
I have a question, actually. Based on what you just said, I interpreted it as holding each other accountable to what we're approving, holding the superintendent and the staff accountable. It seemed like you interpreted it a little differently. And I guess now I wanted to know, Superintendent, what was the question? Was it us
I think that's just in our
accountable?
board goals.
This is
board
your
goals.
unity of purpose in your governance handbook. So I lifted it right out of the handbook and put it in here. So I'm hearing that we need to reword these. So this is good feedback, and I think this would be a great reflection again in January, February, when we have our governance workshop. Maybe I come up with a draft of, maybe with board president, of what a good self-evaluation would be, what would be valuable to you. Like I said, this was just something that I developed because I thought it would be a good reflection for the board. But we don't have to use this. We can take the parts we like and then add to it, because we want it to be meaningful for you. And so this was just a first time trial. So this is really good feedback. So we can move forward.
With that understanding, I mean, and again, like, we can go through the other ones. I kind of want to take a look at this and, like, I don't know if we want to reword now. That seems like a lot of work. But I wonder, because I don't know how I would respond to the next two that we have. I don't know. If we want to continue the conversation, that's fine. I'm trying to figure out more of my thoughts on the.
Based on this conversation, I think that we did not interpret this all the same. And I think that it may be wise to hold off on continued discussion around this and work to recreate this evaluation and see how it goes the next go around.
Second, but also I also want us to clarify what the intent and purpose of it is, like specifically, and what we're gonna do with it, because I think that's what made me think about you, Trustee Jordan, after our last meeting. It's like, what are we gonna do with this?
And I think that's what Trustee Rashba said at the very beginning is, like, quoting what we both had said at the beginning is, like, what is our mission, what's our vision? Or I guess our vision and goals for this would be kind of, would that be something effective for us to discuss now? Would be like, what is our vision for this going forward? So then the questions can be discussed later. What's our process?
So I guess just going back to the reason why I originally said no to doing this is because I felt like it was a part of a broader discussion around who we are as a board, our mission as a board, and essentially unity of, like when we created all of these things, there was a whole discussion around why do we want this to be our unity of purpose? Why do we think that this is equity work? So when we say, oh, we're gonna go and evaluate ourselves, but we clearly don't all agree on what these even mean, because a lot of these things were created when we had different board members, and it just becomes like we're doing it to do it and not because it's going to be like, are we gonna make a change based on this?
Yeah.
And I think that's where I struggled with saying yes when you said, let's go forward and doing it. And so now, based on this conversation now, that's how I feel again. It's like, okay, well, cool, we did this, but clearly we all were not even aligned with what we were evaluating ourselves on.
I could see this as, for the January, February governance workshop, this is highlighting that we need to come to common understanding of what our handbook means. And so then we determine, now how are we going to evaluate, how effective you are as a board? Because I think it is important to have reflection and have a self-evaluation. Maybe it's not this tool, but I think that could be part of what we do in that governance workshop, is to come to common understanding and maybe co-create the success criteria for the governance handbook and the governance, all of these pieces. And maybe it's part open-ended, part rubric, and that could be, we just develop it together so we understand it together. So if that's this is a discussion item, so it's no action need to be taken. So if that's the direction you want to go, we can work on that and decide when that day will be, and then work from there.
I know Trustee Ali wanted to speak. I don't know if you still wanted to speak. Okay, you were
I
reaching
think
for
we
your
were
mic.
all just nodding yes.
Okay.
Like we
Trustee Rashba?
I would support what you said, Superintendent McCulloch. I would say, however, that I would not want the entire governance workshop to be taken up by self-evaluation. I've always felt like we should take some of the time to really dig into some of the issues that we're dealing with on the board.
Sounds good. So then I guess for now, if we're in agreement, we will move past this for now, and we'll come back to it when at the January retreat. Sounds good. All right. With that, we move on to item 8A, June 2025 CSBA Board Policy Updates, first reading. The board will review and revise board policies, administrative regulations, board bylaws from June 2025 CSBA Board Policy Updates as stated in a first reading. Are there any comments or questions? If not, I will entertain a motion. Oh, jeez. Let's see. Do we have any paper towels? Thank you, Ms. Coveray. You're fine. You're fine. The district can fix that carpet, right? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. No, I'm just messing. All right. So then,
If there are no discussion, I would motion to approve the first reading.
all right. There's a motion. Do I have a second?
second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And you caught the people that got the motion. Yeah, thank you. All right. And with that, we move on to item 9, governance team member comments, reports, future agenda items, and board meeting reflection. And for this one, Trustee Ali and Trustee Rosba should share police chief subcommittee report. So I will pass it to Trustee Ali.
All right, thank you. So I'm not going to say too much, but recently we met with the chiefs from Colma, Broadmoor, and Daly City. Actually, one of the chiefs was over phone. Was that Broadmoor? Broadmoor. So we met with the Colma chief and Daly City chief, and we just discussed their plans for safety and actually their procedures and what they do to help keep our schools safe. And we also discussed partnering more with the police departments and our schools and the district to put out messaging to our community around safety, traveling to and from school. And so that I don't take all of the talking points, I'll pass it over to Trustee Rashba.
Thank you, Trustee Ali. Yeah, it was a very valuable discussion, and I was really pleased that we convened the police from those 3 jurisdictions serving our district, and I just thought it was really valuable to have all of them in the room, and they really have expertise in how to talk about safety, and we, were primarily discussing like getting to and from school, those issues, but then got into things like cyberbullying and, which we all identified as some of the most serious threats to the safety of our students in our community. So I think they have a lot of really great ways of talking about that information in an effective way. And I want to thank you, Superintendent McCulloch, for working with them and coordinating a video that will be included soon. That will be shown. Regarding that, which I think is a good testament to this.
Before we show it, just also the next meeting, we decided to meet again as a group on August 26th, and the police chiefs, all 3, came together and created a joint message that they shared with us, and we're putting it in tomorrow's newsletter as well, and they put it out on their social media. This is on their social media, and it's also linked in the newsletter for tomorrow, but we wanted to show it tonight too.
Hey guys, Officer Jaime from the Daly City Police Department Traffic Unit. As we get closer to going back to school, I just want to remind people always use a crosswalk, make sure to look both ways, and most importantly, the street is not a place to play. So for kids, when you're walking with your parents or just walking with your friends, do not play in the street.
Hello, I'm Officer Bermudez with the Broadmoor Police Department. We always encourage students to travel to and from school in groups or with a partner. That way they can look out for one another.
If you see something suspicious or something that makes you nervous, don't be afraid to tell school staff, a trusted adult, or call 911 and let us help you.
So this all came out of this meeting that we had together. Oh,
Thank you very much. And then, did you have any other reflection you wanted to say, or was that it? All right.
I just want to say that, so the part of that, that video was addressing, one of the issues that we brought up, which is people that were, leaving sports events or different things after school, or after the after-school program or whatever, and walking home or walking to the bus alone. So I'm glad that they added that part in the video about walking in groups and with partners.
I'm glad about the video. Was there any discussion around physical presence in like real time? Because I think, unfortunately, as an African American, I don't always feel safe with police around. It's always a negative connotation with them. And so my idea of safety is having a community policing where it's like I know the person, I see them as someone that is a part of my community and that I know that I can go with them, I feel safe. It's not always about calling 911. It's like I know this officer, I know that he cares about my well-being and cares about my children's well-being. Were there discussions around that to make sure that they're seen as a part of the community and it's not lip service, a video, which that's great, but it takes more than that to make people feel safe and comfortable in their community?
Yeah, definitely. We had those discussions, and this for the police. This is, what they do. So, yeah, I know. I talked from a certain perspective, and so did Trustee Rashba. This is their attempt. They talked about how they once a year have the national night out and things like that. So what we were saying is that it's actually more important for us to have these monthly meetings and be proactive about this and not even put it out as a message of, oh, Daly City is unsafe and the police are saying do this. We did talk about that this just needs to be more of a proactive relationship between public safety and not just the school districts, but also the city of Daly City. So yes, thank you for saying that. And, feel free to give us more talking points for the next meeting.
if I may add, yes, we did. We talked about that, and we talked about the school resource officers and having that stronger connection. We already have a connection with them, but coming especially to our middle schools and building those, doing assemblies and things like that. So that was discussed. Priority of the meeting was school start and let's do some safety talk. And so they were really, here's our message. So that was the focus, and that's why we're meeting again on the 26th to talk about further connections.
Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that it'll be more of a proactive discussion and less reactive, because I think, unfortunately, in years past, it's a very reactive. And I think the proactiveness is going to help with our community at large feeling safe and honestly wanting to engage and contact the police when they do see suspicious activity. So thank you.
Can I say some more, President? Yeah, so also we talked about getting, the mayor of Daly City involved, making it like a real citywide thing, just saying that we all care about our youth, not just getting to school and from school, but also that time period, after school, like 6 o'clock, that's the most violent time, between 6 and 7. So just having a citywide proactive approach to understanding that transition time and keeping our youth safe.
Any other reflection? All right, I just wanted to, did you have anything? Oh, okay. I just want to say I really appreciate all the perspectives that we have on this board. I appreciate that we can have these conversations. And again, these are the kind of conversations, kind of why I wrote, somewhat effective for some of these things, where some things we do really well, other things we can still improve on. We're not doing them, but we are somewhat effective in them. But, and then on top of that, we are looking forward to the process of obtaining and appointing, hopefully, a new board member within the next couple of months. All right, and then we have item 10, persons wishing to address the board. Ms. Covray, are there any? Okay. This portion of the agenda is available for individuals to comment on or address the board on an item addressed in closed session. The maximum time for any speaker is usually 2 minutes. All right, and before we adjourn or go to closed session, we'll recess first. We are going to close this meeting in a moment of silence and adjournment of memory of Cecil Ray Hawkins, father of Adam Hawkins, president of AFT 3267, Ophelia L. Usi, mother of Vanessa Usi, I apologize, school administrative assistant at Susan B. Anthony School, and Lilia Tirado, retired bilingual aide at Daniel Webster, Westlake, and MP Brown's elementary schools. All right, we are going to convene in closed session in 5 minutes.